Hey cruisers, I'm Sherry with Cruise Tips TV. It's been a few years since we have talked to you about good and bad cabin locations, and things have changed a little bit. So we've decided to come back today and share 7 cruise cabin locations we think you might want to avoid, as well as 3 we absolutely love and keep booking over and over again. We are right now, by the way, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, heading back up from Cabo San Lucas to California on a Carnival cruise. So if you see just a little bit of motion here, that's because we're underway. This is very exciting. It's a sea day. So our number 1 location you might want to avoid on your cruise is booking a cabin below, right, a sports court or a busy pool deck. Imagine trying to sleep in on your cruise only to wake up to the sound of someone playing basketball above your head. Not relaxing at all, right? You definitely want to avoid being under a sports court. Now, there's some pool areas that can be very, very noisy as well. And one thing that happens when you book a cabin underneath a pool deck is that when the staff and crew are cleaning up the pool area in the morning, the early morning hours or the late evening hours, their job is to put away and stack up all the pool chairs and pool loungers. And that can be very noisy. So that's in the morning and at night. Then during the daytime hours, what can happen is that guests who are up at the pool deck might drag those chairs around. And that also can create noise for you in your stateroom. So that is no bueno. You don't want to experience that kind of noise in your stateroom. Our number 2 type of cabin that you might want to avoid is a cabin near a busy pool. Now, we just talked about being beneath a pool. That's one thing, but you could also be adjacent to a pool and have some noise issues. For example, we were on a cruise not too long ago on a pretty high deck, and we were the last cabin next to a pool and a water slide. So as soon as those water slides opened, we would have noise from the water slides, and then when the DJ would come on during the day, we could hear the DJ noise, the music noise coming into our room. Now, that may not bother you a whole lot. And in fact, for us, it actually didn't bother us, but it's something that you might want to consider when you're booking a stateroom. If you really want peace and quiet, you want to get away from those pools entirely and look for staterooms that on a deck map don't look like they are adjacent to a pool, if that makes sense. All right, moving on to number 3. Now, this is an interesting one. You might want to avoid booking a cabin or stateroom near a crew area. This can be a little bit difficult when you're booking. You may not be able to see where those crew areas are. So I'm going to try to give you a few examples, and we're going to see if we can try to just get you thinking about where this could be a problem. One example of common crew areas would be cabins that are actually near the bridge, the navigational bridge. The officers may be coming and going throughout the day. Now, I will say, generally speaking, they're actually pretty quiet and considerate with opening and closing their doors, and you may not experience a lot of noise, but it would stand to reason that if you book a cabin near an area where people are going to be coming and going, that could be a little bit noisy. You also might want to avoid booking near a laundromat. Now, self-serve laundromats, if they exist on the cruise ship you're booking on, those will be labeled. People tend to come and go from those laundromats throughout the day. They might go in and iron something, right? For formal night, they might go put their laundry in the wash, then go switch it out of the dryer. And what tends to happen in those laundromats is people, they make new friends, they have conversations, and you might be adjacent to that and may not want to deal with that noise. Maybe again, it might not bother you. All of this cabin selection stuff is very personal. We're just trying to give you the tools to kind of give it some thought. Another location that can be a little bit tricky while we're talking about being near a crew area is actually being near a supply closet where your stateroom steward might be restocking. Again, they're generally very considerate, but if you're in an area where they might be pulling their tray in and out of the, like their cart with all of the stuff that they clean your room, your sheets, your linens, all the glasses, that could be a little bit noisy, a little bit difficult to see on a ship deck plan. But if you see an open area on the deck plan that doesn't look like it's a stateroom, it looks like it's kind of a vacant room with no label, that could be a crew closet of some sort, and you might want to avoid it. Work with a travel agent on that one or the cruise line directly to see if they can tell you if you think that's going to be a bother. The number 4 type of cabin that you might want to avoid, with some exceptions, are cabins near elevators for a number of different reasons. Cabins near elevators can be noisy just by virtue of the elevators themselves opening and closing. We've had experiences too where there was a little hardware kind of off or something that broke equipment-wise in an elevator, and our cabin was near it. And we could hear banging from behind the elevator, and they had a really hard time fixing that banging noise. Now, this may not happen to you at all, but it could happen. But really the bigger issue is kind of what we were talking about earlier with the laundromat, is that elevators tend to be gathering places, right? Everybody's kind of going to the elevator to go somewhere, and during busy periods like going to dinner or, times when people are trying to get to a show, you might find that people congregate near elevators, and they may have conversations that are a little louder than you want to hear. Now, some people love being near elevators. They love the convenience of it. Perhaps they're booking into an ADA or accessible cabin, and not having to go down a long hallway makes sense. Or maybe you like being close to the action. That's okay. We're just telling you that if you book near an elevator, it is possible that you might experience some unwanted noise. I've been on cruise ships before where it was almost a silent area near an elevator too, so you never really know. The next type of cabin that we think you should very carefully consider is a connecting cabin. You might want to avoid connecting cabins because these cabins that have doors inside the cabin that go between the two cabins, that material seems to be a little bit thinner, and it seems to allow noise to pass through a little bit more. Now, if you're booking a connecting cabin with the person next to you, great, book it. That's a good cabin for you to book. But if there's a stranger next to you who decides to blare, game shows or cartoons at all hours of the night, or MTV, or whatever it is that they're watching, that can be very, very disruptive, and there is absolutely nothing you can do to eliminate that noise coming through your wall. We're really not sure why this happens. Really not sure why that sound tends to carry through those doors like that, but there's something about the construction of them that makes them a little bit funky. The next type of cabin you may want to consider avoiding is a cabin adjacent to a nightclub, a disco, or a bar. Now, these are tricky. These are tricky cabins, and here's why I'll tell you that. Sometimes there's some pretty great cabins. They might be suites, they might be mini suites, they might be really awesome on a deck map, and they might look really good, but then when you look right below you, you see that you have got a bar or a nightclub that plays loud music into the night, and you're like, oh no, I've already booked the cabin. It's too late. So you really want to pay close attention to that one and make sure that there is no type of bar, disco, nightclub, or live music venue right under you, in front of you, on top of you, anywhere around you, because those can be some of the worst. One of the reasons why is that they have kind of a bassy thump that will go late into the night. Like, so from 10 p.m. to 1 p.m., if you're trying to sleep, you might be getting a really, really disruptive music sound that's just no fun. And again, there's nothing you can do about it. The number 7 type of cabin that you might want to avoid is something we call extreme cabins. Extreme cabins. What's an extreme cabin? An extreme cabin is a cabin that is either very high on the ship and super far forward, or perhaps very low on the ship and way far back. And if you're prone to seasickness, those are bad places to be, because if you get seasick, the best place to be on a ship is low and in the center. So if you think about it, being way, way, way up high and at the very front of the ship, you're going to feel more motion than normal, right? And the same thing kind of goes for the back of a ship at a high deck. You might feel more vibration back there. It's a different kind of motion than the front of the ship. But if you're sensitive to motion, avoid those extreme cabins. We actually like extreme cabins because we like being at the end of a hallway. So remember how I talked about this being a very personal thing? It is a very personal thing. You do you. You book what works for you. But just be aware that sometimes those extremes are not good. And if you tend to get a little motion sick, you might want to book a little bit lower down on one of those decks, sort of towards the center. Be aware, though, that another sometimes undesirable place to be on a cruise ship is on a very, very, very low deck. There's several reasons for that. Sometimes those are the least expensive cabins for a reason. You might get anchor noise when you're pulling into a port and anchoring in the morning. You might be right by a medical center. You might be really far away from everything else. Like, it might take you forever to get anywhere from that deck one area. Then again, some people love those low cabins. For example, there's Carnival cruise ships that have these things called cove balconies. And cove balconies are low balcony cabins that have a cult following, and people love being down by the ocean with a completely shaded balcony and a little cutout, like you're never gonna get any sun, you're not gonna get the elements. It can be very desirable, but just be aware of those extremes. Now I'm super excited to talk to you about our favorite types of cabins. And again, these are just our personal favorites. These are things that we really love. And the number one type of cabin we really love are spa cabins. Spa cabins are not available on every single cruise ship out there, but if the cruise line you're booking with has a spa category, you might want to consider it for a number of reasons. Number one, location. Sometimes being up in that area by the spa can be extra tranquil. There's usually not a lot of other cabins there, and when you go to the spa, you're typically told to be quiet, right? So it's kind of an ideal place for a cabin. Number two, you might have perks if you book into a spa cabin. For example, on Carnival, you get spa discounts, upgraded bathroom amenities, bathrobes, slippers, discounts on spa treatments, and did I mention some free fitness classes? Super, super cool. So spa cabins are fantastic. And again, another thing that a lot of people like about them is they tend to have a little bit more of an adult vibe. That's not to say that spa cabins are all adult only, because to be quite honest, they're not all that way. But if you want to be in a more adult area, I think that can be a really good choice for you. All right, cabin number two that we love are aft cabins. Even though they kind of fall into the extreme cabin category, I'm talking about aft cabins, the type where the balcony faces the wake and behind you, you see the horizon kind of shrinking down away from you during sail away. You see that dramatic wake, and it is one of the most tranquil and relaxing and fabulous places to be on a cruise ship. Trouble is, those cabins book up quick. So if you want to try an aft-facing balcony, we should probably call it an aft-facing balcony, we're going to encourage you to book early, and again, book with a travel agent so they can get you on the back of the ship in the right place. Be careful though. I would caution you against, if you're on a ship with lots of activity, I would caution you against booking one right underneath a pool deck. Because during the sail away party, what might happen, or anytime you pull away from port, is people might pop up on the pool railing and be looking right down into your aft balcony. So maybe book kind of down in the center of those aft ones, and watch again for those lounges, for those bars, those noisy places around the aft that could conflict with your goals of having a nice quiet aft facing balcony. The number three type of cabin that we suggest you book, and this is a very universal tip, this is something seasoned cruisers learn to do really well, is a cabin between two decks of passenger staterooms. So let's say deck 6 is all passenger staterooms. There's no public areas, bars, restaurants. Deck number 7, same thing, all staterooms. Deck number 8, same thing, all staterooms. I would take deck number 7 because you're sandwiched between two full decks of passenger staterooms, and there's no public areas or sports courts or anything around you. Now, another thing you might want to think about when you're booking your stateroom or your cabin, aside from all of these tips that we just gave you, we encourage you to think about one thing. Where do you want to be on the ship? What do you want to be close to? We learned that on Harmony of the Seas, we wanted to be close to the Vitality Spa so we could go get fresh juice in the morning. I wanted to be close to Central Park so I could go get my morning coffee. So deck 6 was great for me, even though maybe that wasn't where I'd normally book. Where do you want to be? Do you want to be near the theater? Do you want to be really close to the pool? How about being close to the dining rooms? Where do you want to be? Talk to your travel agent a little bit about it. Give it some thought. Post on cruise message boards, talk to seasoned cruisers, and really give some thought to your cabin selection because, friends, there are literally thousands of choices. Truth is, you can't go wrong. You're going on a cruise. You're gonna have so much fun and you don't need to worry too much about these selections. Now, we wanna hear from you. If you're a seasoned cruiser or a newbie cruiser, leave your tips, your questions, your cabin selection hacks, whatever you've got, leave it down in the comments below. And in the description of this video, we're gonna do something really cool. We're gonna link to some past videos that we've made. We're gonna link to a couple of our favorite stateroom tours and a couple of videos about how to organize your cruise stateroom, because once you choose a cabin, it's really fun to keep everything clean and tidy and working its best. We've loved spending time with you today. Thank you so very much for being here. Happy cruise planning, friends. And until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Bye-bye.